Well, hello. My name is Jim Royal. I want to thank you very much for watching my video. I'm a huge Beatles and Elvis Presley fan and basically classic rock in general. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. And then at the end of the video, if you could do a thumbs up, that's always most appreciated. Feel free to leave comments. I always enjoy reading them and I try to respond to them in a timely manner. Today what I wanted to do is give a recommendation on a wonderful group of magazines here from the publishers of Uncut. Uncut is a UK, United Kingdom, British magazine. Basically it was a magazine that was founded originally in 1997. Originally it focused on music, movies and books, and now it concentrates on music. What these are issues that are not the normal issues, but things that you would find on the newsstand or maybe the checkout aisle when you're getting ready to leave and you're seeing, a big magazine that's just devoted to one thing. My favorite subject, right? And most of ours. And it's cool. There's no ads in here, which is nice too. It's just devoted everything to them, and I love that. There might be other ones that you've seen, like, Newsweek with, I think, Woodstock 50th anniversary, or, celebrating here 50 years for, the first landing on the moon, first man on the moon, from other ones. Well, Uncut decided to do it on the Beatles and also the solo Beatles. So you have John Lennon, you have Paul McCartney, you have George Harrison, and then the latest one is Ringo Starr. Alright, and why I'm recommending these specifically is because they have complete solo discography information on every Beatle, and I love that. Okay, so not only are you getting the studio albums, but you're also getting information about any live albums. You're getting information on greatest hits. I can't say enough how wonderful it is. Okay, gotta recommend it. Now, what is cool about these magazines also is that when you look at an album, like, I'll give you an idea here. The Beatles is a little different. The Beatles doesn't have a rating system because I think probably all of us would say all the songs and everything is great, but typically what they'll do is they'll show a nice picture of the album cover, they'll list the songs, and then they have, for the solo Beatles, they'll have a rating system, stars next to each song. So it gives you an idea of how good they thought they were. Alright? They draw on vintage reviews, which I also think is wonderful. Okay, so, hey, what did people think when Red Rose Speedway came out? I know critics were a little harsh to Paul at that time. What did they think? Were they all bad? So it gives you an idea of what happened back in the day. And what they're doing is they're drawing, they're taking, from old magazines, specifically two in particular. Melody Maker, which is an old British magazine. It originally started in 1926, and I think it ceased publication in 2000. A very popular Beatles magazine, popular music magazine, and even the Beatles, I believe, read it and enjoyed it. Kind of like a Rolling Stone of its day or a Spin magazine, And then there was another one that was also popular called New Musical Express. That one was founded in 1952, and it continues this day. I think right now it's on website only. So, sometimes, how Rolling Stone will have an exclusive interview, and, it's a big deal. Well, they had exclusive interviews with the Beatles with these magazines. And in many cases, if they had one, it'll be in here. And that, I think, is really cool. So, you're hearing maybe some words that the Beatles or solo Beatles had said that maybe, we haven't really seen, in full form. And that's pretty cool and pretty exciting. Whether you're, a huge Beatle fan, or maybe you're just getting back into them, or maybe you're just getting into them the first time. That's why I can't stress enough how wonderful these are. And I know you can go online and you can get a list of their albums, that's great, but this is like almost, you can go to a concert and get a tour program, and hopefully you can see, the remaining Beatles. But what I love about this, like this one, this is my latest one. I got this in Barnes & Noble, and it cost me $15.99 on Ringo Starr. Okay, so not only does it list all of his solo albums, the 19 that he has, but it talks about his live albums with the All-Star Band. It talks about his greatest hits. It actually does a review and a rating system through all of his 70s solo output, his studio albums up through the 70s, which I think is really good. It also goes in detail about his movies, his movie career that he had. And like I said, they're about 120 pages each, no ads, which is really cool. And what I also think is really great about these is that you can get back issue of these. So you can go directly to the publisher, Uncut, and you can order these online if you want to. And that's why I'm saying, go for this. This is great. I know that when I started getting into the solo Beatles in the early 80s, I didn't have information like this. I had outdated magazines or outdated books that maybe went up to the mid-70s. There was a lot of stuff missing. So to have something like this, I think, is just extraordinary. All right. So I can't stress enough why you should take a look at these and continue to watch the YouTube videos like I do. Like Ringo Starr. He's got a lot of albums, and you think, well, gee, where should I start? Well, now you got an idea. You can look at the albums, you can read the reviews, the vintage information, and then get an idea of where you think you should start. Now, my story with this Uncut, how I stumbled upon this, was originally I bought this one. Okay, the Beatle one, and it's great. It's a nice magazine. There's a lot of stuff on the Beatles out there, but there's not as much on the solo Beatles. So then I came across, this is from 3 years ago, late 2016. I got that John Lennon one at Barnes & Noble, and I liked, the idea that, hey, this is the first time I've really seen like a rating system on their solo stuff. I think it's really cool, rating the albums, talks about the albums, and then little stars by the songs telling you how good they think they are. So then I got that. Okay, so I had those two, and I had heard on YouTube about Ringo Starr was coming out, so I was excited for that. And actually, what happened with this is this says exclusive Barnes & Noble here in the States, but there's actually another cover, an alternate cover. This is, I guess, what I would call the international cover. The other cover is a Barnes & Noble only, even though they carry both. It would be a light blue background instead of the red, and then instead of the Beatle Ringo, it had him from a movie Caveman from 1980, a still from that, which was really cool. I wanted to get this one, though. This was the one that I decided to get. Okay, so now I have 3 of them, but before I got Ringo, I looked back and I'm like, wow, this is from this Uncut. This is pretty cool. So I really wanted to finish the collection. And I was really happy that you can go back to the publisher, but I thought, you know what? It might be a little pricey with the shipping, overseas. So let me go on eBay and see what I can do there. So I still had to get Paul McCartney and George Harrison. Now, I paid $15.99 for this one, and here in the States, there's no taxes on magazines. So I knew George would probably be about the same price. And I went online on eBay, and I saw one for $22.50. So I snagged it. I'm like, hey, that's a good deal. Let the guy on eBay make a little bit of money too. No problem there, but there's some shipping and handling also. Well, Paul, wow. Paul was different. I knew he would be more expensive. I know that he has more releases than the other 3 Beatles. But I was like, okay. So I went online and I saw crazy prices on eBay. I saw one for, I think, like $39.99. I saw one for $55. I saw one for $75. And the first one I saw was $29.95. So I'm just like, I'm just going to buy this. I know I'm paying a lot of money for it, but I'm going to do it. So anyway, that's the history there. I just wish stuff like this was available when I was growing up. And I think they're nice little keepsakes, if anything. So I really want to thank you for watching my video, and you have a nice day. Take care. Bye.